And so within 2 years, he went from 4 million to 10 million. And what was interesting is that I contacted him at about the 18-month mark, and I said, "Oh, how's it all going?" And he, told me, he said, "We're getting this amount of growth." And I said, "Look, that's, just fantastic." And he said, "And I've hired another." So he had one estimator when I was working with him that I also sort of trained up in the system.
Welcome to the Master Dealmakers Secrets podcast. And now, here's sales growth strategist, John Blake.
Welcome to Master Dealmakers Secrets. I'm John Blake. This is episode 187. And today we are going to be talking about a client case study, a guy that went from 4 million to 10 million in 2 short years, largely based on some of the work that we did together. So I'm going to take you through what we did, the specifics that led us to be able to get to that particular number. But before I do that, if you have got sales that you haven't made yet from quotes that you've sent and proposals that you've sent, and you want to convert more of those outstanding proposals into paying clients, I want you to head over to John Blake Audio. What you will get there is my precise system that I've developed over the last 20 years to help you to convert more of those quotes and proposals into paying clients. So what you'll get is a 15-minute audio that walks you through the entire system, and then you will get a PDF with my word-for-word scripts, exactly what to write in your emails, exactly what to say when you call on the phone, and exactly when to call and when to email over a 90-day period. This is my complete system that I work with new clients with because it's the fastest way that we can get a cash injection in their business and have those sales pay for their investment in my program. It is at johnblakeaudio.com. Go grab it, put it into practice. Let me know how it goes. Okay, so what we're going to talk about is, so this is a really great client of mine, and he came to me, and he's a highly skilled carpenter. And he's attracted an incredible team of tradesmen that he works with, and developed a really good relationship. And he's a pretty quiet, conservative guy. And at some point, he'd had the realization that he didn't really like talking to clients. And in his own admission to me, he said, "I hate talking to people, and I've grown this business to where it is, which was basically 4 million, by not really talking to people, by just basically answering emails and sending quotes." And he realized that he wanted to grow, but he realized that that belief, that attitude was not going to get him there. And so thankfully, he'd already kind of had those realizations before he came to me. And so he had no sales process. So, it was really just someone emailed him, he'd send a quote back, and that was about it. He realized that he was stagnant because he had no systems whatsoever as it relates to the business growth or the business development side of his business. It was just him doing the actual estimating in his business. I think he was just about to hire an estimator, and he realized that this was basically what he needed to sort before he could continue to grow. And so what we did is we did a number of things over the time that I worked with him. But what we did is we worked out who his best buyers were, and we worked out a system for getting in front of and converting more of those best buyers. And we did that primarily by developing a capability statement, which for trades and construction businesses is really important. So we developed a capability statement. We also developed a free report, so some education-based marketing for his target type people that he could send and position himself as a credible preferred trades type business, which was also really instrumental in him winning some high value type clients. We, of course, developed and documented and recorded his entire sales process, which obviously we needed to create from end to end. So from initial call or email to scoping session to quote, we actually redid his quote template. We went through his presentation process for actually presenting that quote to a potential client, and then, of course, his follow-up system. And so within 2 years, he went from 4 million to 10 million. And what was interesting is that I contacted him at about the 18-month mark, and I said, "Oh, how's it all going?" And he, told me, he said, "We're getting this amount of growth." And I said, "Well, that's, just fantastic." And he said, "And I've hired another." So he had one estimator when I was working with him that I also sort of trained up in the system, and he'd hired 2 more estimators in addition to the one guy that he was working with prior. A lot of people who listen to the podcast want to know what we do over at Master Dealmaker Secrets. And effectively what we do is we work with sales professionals and business owners all over the world who are seeing massive increases in their top line sales revenue. So we help business owners and sales professionals to effectively focus on the 3 key drivers to growing sales revenue in your business. The first one is controlling the message that you send out into the marketplace so that potential clients see and hear and read what you do as an opportunity as opposed to your competitors. The second thing that we do is we help you to create a direct path to the 20% of your ideal clients that will deliver 80% of the revenue. So everyone knows the 80-20 rule. We help you to develop a direct path to the 20% of the people that are going to give you 80% of your sales revenue in your business. And the third thing that we allow you to do, that we create a process for, is for you to be able to double the amount of leads that you get that convert into paying clients. So if this is of interest, we do have an application-only process to become involved in this particular program. And to get to there, all you need to do is to go to www.johnblakescall.com. So it's JOHNBLAKESCALL.com, and there's a couple of questions to answer there. And then what you'll do is get on a quick conversation with me, and I can find out a little bit more about what you've got going on in your business and see potentially whether what you are doing would be a fit for what we could help you with. And at that point, I can extend an invitation if it's a fit, and you can make the choice to come on board or not. So that's the opportunity. That would be the next step if you're looking at how you can take things to the next level. If you're enjoying what you're hearing on the podcast, if you're getting value from it, I invite you to do that, and I will look forward to talking to you. The website is www.johnblakescall.com. Talk to you soon. And I said to him, do you need any help? Do you need any help training these guys? And he said, no. I said, well, how'd you bring them up to speed? He said, I just showed him the videos that we did, because we did all our stuff on Zoom. And this, of course, now is not an unusual thing. I've got at least 10 different clients that I've worked with that have trained new salespeople in their business simply by sticking them in front of the videos that we created. So we were able to support him, and obviously he was a great business. He had a great product. He had obviously some other people that were helping him with the other structures and stuff in his business. But that was where we got him. And he, in fact, I'm flying to Fiji, and I believe I've got a client flying me over to Fiji. I'm pretty pumped about that. And I believe he's going to be recognised at that particular conference for having the largest growth within this particular coaching group that he's a part of. So so I'm pretty pumped about that. Oh, and then in addition to that, that growth has financed another division that he's set up within his existing business. So now he's actually able to do plastering in addition to carpentry work. So just an amazing story of someone who didn't come from a sales background, didn't really enjoy the sales process, yet through creating the systems, we took so much of that stress out of it. I think a lot of people, they tell themselves that they don't like sales because they feel nervous in that particular situation. And the reason that they feel nervous in that particular situation is because they don't know what to say. Yet if you give somebody a really solid structure to have those conversations, it takes the stress out of it. If they can be confident that they're being professional, that they're being to the point, and that they're properly diagnosing their client situations so that they can put together something that's going to really solve a problem for them, then they no longer feel stressed about it. And it's quite interesting because I encounter this a lot. There's a lot of people that I talk to that have this stress around sales, and it's just because they don't have the approach and the structure in place to be able to have those conversations. And it's quite interesting because sometimes I would get a client that will come to me and they will say, oh, that they've obviously been to some sort of seminar and they've listened to somebody say, oh, everyone in your organization needs to be in sales, right? And I agree with that conceptually. So I agree with the premise, but in practice, here's what I've learned. So people say, can you turn somebody who is a terrible salesperson or is not a salesperson at all into a salesperson? Okay. And my answer to that is yes. Will they be a superstar? Probably not. But can you get them to a point where they are competent, where they are holding their own as a salesperson? You can, but my only caveat on that is that they have to want to do it, right? They have to have an intention and some sort of a desire to become somebody who is involved in sales. If you have got somebody who actually doesn't want to be in sales, they've never wanted to be in sales, and you try and teach them to sell, that it will not work. And this sounds like but there are so many different businesses that will try to do that. They'll try to arbitrarily put every single person in their organization into a sales type role. And it's a mistake because you're often wasting your breath. And if someone doesn't want to do it, they might even pretend that they want to do it. But if you can I've become really good at picking the people that actually really don't want to do it. If you try and get somebody who doesn't want to do it to become part of the sales team, it just won't work, and you'll be wasting your time and you'll be wasting your money. So thank you so much again for listening, and I will talk to you on the next podcast. Cheers.
You've been listening to Master Dealmaker Secrets with John Blake. Subscribe to get more in-depth strategies and maximize your sales process with new episodes every other week. And double your inquiry to sale conversion with the lead flow you already have. Go to johnblakeaudio.com for his exclusive, free, no fluff audio training and companion PDF guide.